Okay. So when you will be adding the search strategy or when you will be making the search strategy, as you are going down the column, as you're going to down the column, you will be using that Boolean operator that is OR. Okay. Let me explain it. And when you will be going across the columns, you will use the Boolean operator that is AND. What does this mean? Or means like I want all those articles that are having fatty liver or fatty liver this one or steatohepatitis or visceral steatosis or liver steatosis, all this stuff. Okay. And I want those articles that are dealing with fatty liver and terzepatide. I don't want and means and is like making this is restricting our search strategy and or is expanding it. Okay. Like what does this mean if I add the word steatohepatitis? I hope you guys understand the Boolean operators. Even if not, okay, let me just. If I add steatohepatitis and terzepatide, that means I want all those articles that are having the word steatohepatitis in it, that is the population, and terzepatide in it. Okay, both of them should come together in the article. I am not concerned with terzepatide as a separate drug, or I'm concerned with the role of terzepatide in steatohepatitis. Both of them should be coming in the article. Okay, that is the AND strategy. And what is or? That means that the author can choose the word fatty liver or the author can choose the word steatohepatitis. That's all fine with me. He can choose any word he can. Okay. But we have to use or across here and end like there. Okay, so let's start it. So the first word is steatohepatitis. First word is the mesh word, that is the fatty liver. Okay, always add the first mesh word as first. I have added fatty liver here. I will press or. Let me add the next word, fatty liver again. Or now you can see PubMed is automatically adding commas across it. Okay, so it's saying that it is a whole word. That inverted commas function I was telling you guys about, it is automatically doing it. You just have to add the words. Steatohepatitis. Wait a minute. Or, okay, let me just bring it here. Steatohepatitis. Or, okay, so next. So you will be adding these terms. Now we are going down the table, so we are using the word or, okay. So let's assume I have added all those words across the down the table and then I will press the button search. Now it's saying that there are around 1 lakh 26 articles in the whole PubMed that are concerned with fatty liver. Okay, I will go back. I will go back in the advanced section and now I will add the second variable, that is terzepatide. Terzepatide, first one, or glucagon like receptor agonist. First, you have to always add the mesh keyword, okay? And then down, we will be going for this one, Zepbound or Monjaro, okay. And or okay, so now I will press it again, and now it will tell me that there are around 15,000 articles that are concerned with terzepatide. What I want all those articles that are including both of them, both the fatty liver and the terzepatide. Okay, so I will add first this query, first this one, and then add with and then I will now search both of them together. So I've got around 841 results, and this is like a totally fine number for primary screening. What I will do is I will download them, all results, total results as a CSV file, and I will create the file. Okay, and now, okay, sorry, not as a CSV file. I will download it as, let's do for the PubMed. Okay, that's totally fine. Otherwise, it's mostly save it as like an EndNote file. Okay, that's totally fine for now. So this is how you are going to make your search strategy. Okay, you will add first the population group, then search it, and then you will add the intervention group, and then search it, all the variables related to that, and then make one query, that is question, that's combining both of them, and you can see here that it is automatically updating it. Okay, so this will help you also when you will be making your prisma diagram. You have to keep count of these things, that I got 841 results in when I did a PubMed search. What you all guys have to do is, all of you will do it separately, and you have to match like how many searches are you getting. Okay, one another thing is, sometimes this happens, like this is a concept, bilirubin. If I search here bilirubin, let me open it up. No, it was biliverdin. Biliverdin. Yes, sometimes you can see this word here that's known as a supplementary concept. Okay, sometimes this will happen that you will be when you will be searching for a mesh keyword, it will be showing you the supplementary concept word written here as a supplementary concept. What does this mean? This means that PubMed has not yet recognized it as a proper keyword. It is used as a supplementary keyword, and the heading is actually in this one. So in that case, you will use this one, and also the heading map to, you will also be using this one. Both of them, you will use both of them as a keyword, as a mesh keyword. Okay. Like what it is saying is that biliverdin reductase, PubMed has not recognized it as a separate keyword. PubMed is adding all these keywords, the headings, all the articles that are using the word biliverdin reductase, they are automatically being added into this category, reductase acting on the CH and the CH group donors. Okay. So for that case, you have to go for using both of them. Sometimes this happens that there is no mesh keyword for the variable that you are looking for. In that case, you have to go on Google, and you will have to search for the synonyms related to that. You will write here like synonyms for biliverdin, and it has shown you here. Okay, or you can even like write here keywords for biliverdin. And it has shown you now okay, it is showing you if you can use the word bile pigment, or you can use these keywords. And you now, in this case, when you are not given a particular or a specific keyword, now you have to use all the synonyms that you can find, because now it's very open. Okay, some any author can use the word biliverdin, some can use bile pigment, some can use this one, or another person can use the tetrapyrrole. So in that case, you have to be a little bit careful how you are going forward with it. In this case, you have to include all the synonyms related to that word. And in this case also, you will be using properly, you will be using AI, and that is also encouraged. In this case, you will write here that I cannot find the mesh keyword for whatsoever, for, you can say, laparoscopic cholecystectomy. Suggest me keywords, and you will be using all those keywords that it will suggest. Okay. Okay, saying that there is a keyword for laparoscopic, but it is suggesting another terms with you for also. Okay, you can use minimal invasive surgery, single incision, cholelithasis, cholecystitis, all those words. Okay, so in that case, you have to keep your synonyms as open as you can. So this was about making your search strategy. Okay, so just a quick recap. We are going through PubMed, Embase, clinicaltrials.gov, and then when you will have included the articles, like we have got around 841 articles, you will go through them. When you will finalize some of them from around 20 articles from it, then you will check the references, that is known as a snowballing, or you will check previous systematic reviews, and you will find related articles from that also. This is the thing that was about this search strategy checking. Like you will check, are you getting those three RCTs that you saw earlier in your this one, in these 841 articles or not? Like let me show you. When I was finding this topic, I saw these three articles. There was this one, Rezipatide for metabolic dysfunction, this clinical trial, and there was this one, and the other one was Yes, this one. So if I am not able to spot all those three RCTs that I saw beforehand when I was deciding my topic, that means there is some problem in my search strategy. This is known as just a quick check of your search strategy, internal validity checking. Okay. And then you have to either increase your keywords or whatsoever. You have to make sure that you are including them. Okay. So now next step is the primary screening and the secondary screening. We have made the search strategy. Okay, sorry, I missed out on one thing. That was the clinicaltrials.gov. Let me show you how you will be extracting articles from there. Okay, so we are here now, clinicaltrials.gov. Okay, it's a very easy one. It does not ask you to make a proper search strategy. It just asks you like write the name of the disease. Okay, so I write here steatohepatitis, just an open one, fatty liver. Any other term, and what is the intervention? I will write terzepatide. Just that, okay? Nothing more. And then I will press OK. I want all studies. And now it is giving me around, there are just 5 studies on clinicaltrials.gov, a study of tirzepatide in participants, one. Then there is another one, that's synergy outcome. And then there is another one. And there are just like 5 studies. And then I will download them. RIS, all 5 studies, you will download it. Okay, and now we have downloaded it. So this is how you will extract from PubMed and clinicaltrials.gov. All of you guys will be making your search strategy, and then you will compare with each other, and then we will see are all the members getting the same results or not. Okay. So now the first step after this, after making the search strategy is the screening process. Okay, you will do primary screening and then secondary screening. What does primary screening mean? That means you will not be going through the articles, you will just look at their title and their abstract, and through that process you will be removing them. Okay, you will be excluding the studies that do not meet your inclusion criteria, and no reason for exclusion is given. You just exclude all those articles that are not according to you. Okay, just like let me show you here in these ones, a study of terzepatide in participants with non-alcoholic steatohepatitis. This is according to my PCOS. It is talking about terzepatide. It is talking about steatohepatitis. So I will include it in primary screening. A master protocol of multiple agents in steatohepatitis. So this is about multiple agents, not about terzepatide. I will see is there terzepatide covered in this. If not, then I will exclude this in primary screening. Okay. Then I will go down effect on MASH with type 2 diabetes with overall glucagon like peptide 1 analog. So this would also be excluded from my primary screening because this is concerned with overall glucagon like peptide 1 analog, not terzepatide specifically. I am just concerned with all those studies that are considering terzepatide and steatohepatitis, nothing more. Fibrosis lessons after metabolic surgery. This is totally not according to my PCOS. I will exclude it. This is again totally not according to my PCOS. I will exclude it. Okay. So when you are doing a primary screening, you should just have your PCOS in your mind. Is the study covering terzepatide and steatohepatitis or not? And then you will include it or exclude it according to it. Okay. For secondary screening sometimes it takes a lot of time. For that, you have to thoroughly go through the article. And in secondary screening, you just get around 10 articles, 15 articles max. Okay. So we will divide it among the members, and they will go through the article. We will go thoroughly go through the article, and we will see is the article according to our PCOS or not. Okay. And if you exclude it, you have to give reason. You have to give reason for exclusion in secondary screening, but you don't need to give reasons for exclusion in primary screening. When I first did my SARMA, there were just articles around 100 articles were extracted in the primary screening. Okay, just like for this study, this one. According to this search strategy, you are just getting around articles. For the first one, you are just getting around 100 articles in the PubMed results. Okay, so what we did, like one person, all the members did separately primary screening. Okay, they all did separately the primary screening, and then they said that I have done the primary screening, because primary screening doesn't take much time. You just have to go through the title name and the abstract and just see is it according to my PCOS or not. And then we found out that it just took us like an hour for the primary screening, and then we compared with each other. Like everyone was getting the same count for the secondary screening, so we were like, that's fine. But sometimes this happens. Like for this study, I will ask you guys, like all the members should do separately primary screening. Okay, but sometimes this happen like this one. It has around 7,000 articles, okay, 6,500 articles. So this is not possible that all the members separately go through these 7,000 articles. That would make the process so slow. So what we will do is like we can divide it. One person would be going through 1,000 articles, or the other person would be going through 1,000 articles, and then we will be doing the primary screening step. I will show you guys how we will do it, okay? And then there is in the primary screening, you don't need to give any reason for exclusion. In secondary screening, you need to give reason. And screening should be independently done by at least two reviewers to minimize bias and errors. Sometimes it happens that one person is excluded, otherwise it should be included. So to minimize these errors, we have to counter check some things. But of course, in this 6,000, we cannot counter check, so you have to be careful. And if there is some confusion, you can either message in the group, you can ask me, and then we will clear that thing, okay? Or you can either add it into unclear box, and then we can clear it later on, okay? Just let me cover this, and then we will be doing it hands on also. So, if I'm doing a systematic review on IV ascorbic acid and sepsis, I'm doing a meta analysis on it, and there is one article that is vitamin C for the treatment of sepsis, a case report. This thing I will automatically remove in primary screening. Why? Because I am doing a systematic review and meta analysis of only RCTs and cohort studies. This is a case report. Automatically remove the case reports in the primary screening. You don't need to even go through their abstract. If it is written a case report, remove it. You're just concerned with RCTs, you're just concerned with cohorts, nothing more, okay? And sometimes it happens very rarely that we go for cross sectional studies. Otherwise, cross sectional studies mostly we do not include. Then there is another study that is nutritional deficiencies following sepsis, a narrative review. We will exclude it out. Okay? We won't be concerned with a narrative review. We are just concerned with RCTs and cohort. But one thing I can do is if there is a narrative review, a systematic review, I will exclude it, but I can check its references for the snowballing thing as I told you guys before. Okay, I will check the references to make sure I'm not missing out on any article, but I will not include this. Then we have effect of vitamin C on mortality of critically ill patients with severe pneumonia in ICU and RCT. And I am dealing with IV vitamin C and sepsis. I will include this study in my primary screening because it can happen that they are checking the effect of vitamin C in sepsis, okay? Because the patients are critically ill. Maybe when I go through the article, I see that they are undergoing sepsis. So in primary screening, I will include this because it's an RCT and it is dealing with vitamin C and critically ill patients. Then we have combined treatment with hydrocortisone, vitamin C, and thiamine. I will also include this in my primary screening because it is dealing with vitamin C and septic shock. So I will also go for including it. So you just have to keep your PICOs in mind. If the word has vitamin C, your intervention, your population, sepsis, and it's an RCT or a cohort, you will include it in your primary screening. Sometimes this happen. A clinical trial is published multiple times. You have to include it just one by combining all the publications. Select the latest one that has all the results, and you will just include it. Phase one trials we do not include it. Okay. I will share this slide with you also. You can go it through them again so that some things stick in your mind. Also, we will be doing a recap at the end so that if you guys are getting confused, you will it will help you guys understand the stuff better. Phase one trials we will not include, and if a trial is published multiple times, you will include it. Let me show you guys how does that happen. Let me go on PubMed. And now I write here the Alpine trial. It was a trial that was on chronic lymphocytic leukemia. Okay, let me search. Okay, let me remove the word lymphocytic leukemia. You can see here that this is a clinical trial. That was the Alpine trial. Okay, sorry. It is written here, it's a phase 3 trial, okay? An Alpine trial, phase 3, these are the results. And then we move down and we can see another same Alpine trial, and these are some other results. And then if I move down, it is written final comparative analysis of the Alpine trial. This was submitted in 2024. This was published in 2023. This was published in 2023. And this is like, it is saying that this is the final one. So what I would do is I would not add these two. I would just include this one, the last one. That was the final one. But this decision you will not make in primary screening. This is after you have gone through the whole article in secondary screening, okay? And sometimes this happens that even if you don't make this decision, that is totally fine. You can add all of them in the group.